Hi, I'm Alan08, and I'm going to do a recap of The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, Season 13, Episode 12. Okay, we begin with a scene with Sutton exercising, and then a scene of Erica learning and rehearsing dance moves for her Vegas residency. And then we get to see Dorit talking to her daughter about being sassy, and Dorit asks Phoenix, her daughter, where does she see herself in 8 years? And Phoenix says that she's likely going to be a sassy teenager in 8 years. Dorit, if that's to happen, buckle up and enjoy the ride of having a sassy teenager. Garcelle is getting her lift on, her electric facelift, that is. And we get to Sutton in another scene, but she's dressed differently. She's in her garden, cutting flowers to place in a vase, probably. And we get a view of Kyle driving over. And the first question that came to mind is, why the hell is Kyle coming over? It's like as if they're friends or something, when we know good and well that things have definitely been sour between them lately. So I find it hard to believe that everything is all cool between them, especially after everything that transpired. One of them being at Sutton's house with the Namer. So whatever. Sutton tells Kyle that the only reason her roses look so beautiful is because she tends to talk to them, and that it's good to talk to her plants. And I'm thinking, I have a feeling that Kyle's going to use this as something to gossip about Sutton, in a malicious, mean girl type of way. And I'm willing to bet that she will be gossiping to either Annemarie, Dorit, or both of them. And I couldn't help wondering, Sutton, if you invited Kyle over to your house, why? Why would you do that? Maybe they're slowly rebuilding their connection. I don't know, but from what we've heard recently, when Kyle said that she's taking a break from her friendship with Sutton. So I don't know what's going on here. Okay. And I certainly, especially when Sutton said, okay, Kyle said, it's too hot out here, I'm going to go inside. Yeah, I was feeling uneasy from that to Kyle raiding Sutton's refrigerator. Just no. You've been giving me shit for, I don't know, for some months or so, and you got the nerve to come up in here and just roll up in my house and look through my fridge. I don't think so. And apparently, Kyle is talking about, in her confession, about how, there's not much food in Sutton's fridge. And she's maybe, and she said in a vindictive, nasty type of way, maybe there's some truth to Sutton not eating that much, judging from what's not in her refrigerator. And Sutton says that she doesn't know why she let Kyle into her fridge, otherwise she would have prepared and have more food into it before Kyle looked through. My question to you, Sutton, is why are you letting her raid your refrigerator as if she lives there? Better yet, why are you letting her in her house? Again, after everything that happened between you two, shouldn't there be some sort of probation as far as whether or not she's allowed in the house, and if you trust her? That's what I would do. Is okay, we've been going at it for some time now. I'm not sure if I feel comfortable with you being in my house. I don't even know why you're here. So, but hey, Sutton's decision, not mine. And let's see. And again, why do you feel the need to prove to Kyle that you're eating? This is why you don't just let anybody that's not especially someone that's not your friend, into your fridge or into your house. And anyways, though, Sutton asked how Kyle was feeling during her celebration of life event. Kyle says that everybody looked great, and Sutton agreed that it was a good event. And then she also asked where Mauricio was. Kyle says that he was away in Mexico City by way of Aspen on business, and Sutton is not buying any of it because the way she feels is that you're supposed to be here with your wife as she's honoring the friend, her very good friend, who unalived herself. And this is brought up yet again later on at the Homeless Not Toothless event when Mauricio says to Sutton, I heard you had an esophagus problem. And then Sutton got in her confession to say, like, yeah, you want to joke about my esophagus, yet you're the one that wasn't here for the celebration of life, but you decided to come to the Homeless Not Toothless event. Care to explain that? Anyways, Mauricio needs to sit down. Let's see, what else is there? Let's see. Kyle says that Mauricio will be back in time for the Homeless Not Toothless event. And it seems to be a running gag or a joke about the wording of said event, like is it like Homeless Not Toothless? Or, it's just like a big joke. Either people are genuinely confused about the wording, or it's just a joke of how it's being worded. Maybe it's both. I don't know. Anyway, Sutton brings up Garcelle telling her about Annemarie running her mouth yet again about her esophagus. Sutton says that she likes Annemarie. Why? I don't know. Like, you barely know this woman, and this woman is dumping on you as if she knows you. And plus, she's wondering, and because she likes Annemarie, she's wondering why she keeps coming at her. And Sutton says that Annemarie should shut up about her esophagus and just leave it alone. Agreed. And what does Kyle get from all this? We have seen Sutton throw a fit and get into fights over some really ridiculous things. And note that malicious, vindictive smirk she's got on her face. And that got me to thinking, is she the one that started that whole Sutton has an eating disorder theory? Because I'd be willing to bet that she was the one that put that battery in Annemarie's back and got her activated over it. And that's why there's a rift between Annemarie and Sutton. Oh, and then you want to talk about ridiculous? Okay. Production ran back some past footage of Sutton overreacting at Magic Mike. That was fair. Of Sutton overreacting or getting all riled up when she got into it with Crystal season 11. And then there was a time when she overreacted at Sutton's event when she thought she saw somebody there that she had problems with. But somebody commenting on Sutton's health, especially that very someone who's, one, not her doctor, and two, doesn't know her like that, that's far from overreaction, Kyle. What are you trying to say? Like, you're just destined to gaslight Sutton, aren't you? Oh, and you want to talk about somebody overreacting? Well, you overreacted when Garcelle and Sutton were only just asking questions about what's going on in your marriage and why there's changes going on with you. You don't call that overreaction? Interesting. Okay, next. Sutton is showing Kyle the house that her friend has in Barcelona. And I guess that's the house that they'll be staying at. And she has invited all the ladies, including Annemarie, to Spain. And she is hoping that this trip will have the ladies come together and to have fun. Kind of like with the Ojai trip. Now, I have to say the Ojai trip was relatively successful. Nobody was getting into fights or anything like that. That was the very trip where Sutton licked Kyle's toe. Still disgusted by that. And Sutton admits that she does not want to invite Annemarie, who she calls that nurse. Like, wow. Well, if you really want some fun want some fun and people have a good time, maybe it's best that you don't invite her. I mean, because you two don't get along anyway. However, Kyle reminds Sutton that she already invited her and would likely be rude to disinvite her. Sutton responds that Annemarie still owes her an apology for butting into her business, and she does. She should be sorry for what she did. Moving on, we're at Crystal's house. She FaceTimes Garcelle from her backyard. Crystal asked Garcelle what she thought of Kyle's event. Kyle thought it was a beautiful event and that both she and Crystal were moved by what they were celebrating, and like a reminder that, life is short and suicide is something to be taken very seriously. Garcelle asked that it wasn't just a party. It wasn't a party where you forget why you're there and what you're celebrating. That's very true. And Crystal says that somehow a certain somebody happened to have missed that memo, and that somebody was Annemarie. Garcelle's eyes roll at the mention of Annemarie's name, and I know that's right. Like, this woman. Flashback to Annemarie insinuating that Sutton has an eating disorder. And Crystal wonders what Annemarie's purpose was to bring that up, and if it was to publicly shame Sutton. That's what it seems like to me. And via confessional, Garcelle acknowledges that Annemarie is in the medical field. However, she doesn't know Sutton like that. Just like I said. Like, I don't know you. And it kind of made me think about that skit from SNL called Black Jeopardy. And one of the segments was, I don't know you. This would have been perfect for that one. Like someone insinuating that you have an esophagus problem, or that, someone's, I don't know. Never mind. It's part of that. I'm rambling. Okay. Crystal says that when she first met Annemarie, Annemarie said herself that she was a doctor and not NSE. And then I was at a holiday party. Annemarie said that she was an anesthesiologist, but since she joined the group, her story is different. Now she's a nurse anesthetist. I'll have to look that up if those two things are the same or not. But anyways, Crystal wonders if there's anything else that Annemarie is lying about. And her other research is, per Google research, a narrow esophagus is real, and the word genetic is always associated with that phrase. And Crystal says that it's likely Sutton is telling the truth, and when she said that it does run in her family. And Crystal concludes that Annemarie should just let go of trying to embarrass Sutton. We all agree, girl. Don't worry. I'm skipping over Dorit's scene because I do not care. Crystal and her brother Jeff are meeting. Jeff tells Crystal about reconnecting with his ex-fiancée in China, and he says that while he's not angry about how everything happened, he still feels hurt about the way it ended. He admits that his ex-fiancée Vivi never felt fully appreciated or accepted by Crystal or their mother. And to which he says, I can't disagree with that. And Crystal admits that all of Jeff's girlfriends have considered Crystal intimidating because of the way she protects her brother, and now she's coming to realize that maybe her approach is wrong. And it's no denying the fact that Crystal and Jeff are very close best friends, and they have been since they were really little. And plus, Jeff also has a close relationship with his mother too. And Jeff says, like, any girl that he meets will have to deal with the fact that I have a close relationship with my sister and my mother. To all the ladies that Jeff meets, I say good luck to y'all, because you're going to be up against some very serious tension and competition. It seems, anyway. And it's the fact that another woman entering into Jeff's life is obviously hard for Crystal and their mother, because they're used to being the only women in his life. Let's see. And Crystal was worried that once she met Rob and then eventually married him, that she wouldn't be as much as Jeff's sister anymore, because she'll be mostly known as Rob's wife. I mean, when you get married, that's what happens. Like, your life is your husband's life. You build the life with him. So, of course, you're not going to see your brother as much anymore. But that doesn't mean that he's not your brother anymore. You'll just have to find a way to stay connected. But just realize that your husband comes first. Just like any woman that comes into Jeff's life, that woman will always come first. So, let's see. Jeff says that he plans to spend 6 months in China and then the rest of the 6 months in America. And it's there where he can focus on his music again, do more DJ work, and get his own life back in order. And Chris wonders that if his decision if he's making this decision because he feels that she pushed him away with her pushiness. And Jeff says that it's just about him needing distance from them so that he can get himself together. And it's nothing against Crystal or their mother. And even though Crystal doesn't want Jeff to go, she'll realize that she'll have to just, accept that this is Jeff's life and his decision, and he's the one that's got to live his life, not Crystal. Then we get a montage of the ladies getting ready for the Homeless Not Toothless event. Kyle and Mauricio are leaving together. Mauricio asks where the event is. Kyle says it's at the Beverly Hilton. And here is where we revisit the whole wording of said organization, where Mauricio confirms if it's homeless, not toothless. And Kyle says yes, that's what it's called. Mauricio asks about how things went at the Celebration of Life event. Kyle tells him about it, and then Mauricio asks if any guys attended. And then Mauricio just doesn't seem to be full of regret for not being there at the event with him, considering he's away on business. Like, he just doesn't seem to care. And he knows that. And while he knows that she'll be traveling the following weekend, but when he's told by Kyle that she'll be going to Spain after that, he looks very perplexed, as if to say, like, okay, well, you didn't tell me about this. Why? And his perplexed look is proof that, like, okay, like what Kyle's like, you never tell me in advance where you're going and when, so this is my way of getting back at you. Like, how do you like it? And there's just even more disconnect. That's mainly what this is. And at the Homeless Not Toothless event, all the ladies arrive. Mauricio and Marcel greet each other. And Kyle is worried that whenever she and Mauricio are out and about together, she can feel somebody whispering about them and looking at them as if they're judging them. Well, ever since the news broke that your marriage is going through some strife, of course people are going to whisper and talk about you because they're wondering what's going on. Just like Garcelle and Sutton had questions about them, but you blew up at them over it. And I have to say, like, seeing Erica and Sutton greet each other is, well, really nice. Like, okay, they're getting along well. Good. Let's hope that it's not an act. Crystal asks about Sutton's esophagus, but it's different here because Crystal is more of a concerned friend, unlike some people we've seen. Sutton says that she has a magical esophagus. Erica adds that Sutton has a MP, which is magical Pussy. And per flashback, Erica's asked what was up with the MP. Like, is it the grip, the wetness, or what? And I believe this was still the same event where Garcelle and Sutton were having lunch or dinner together, and they were just having a grand old time. So, and Sutton says that it's the sweetness. Okay. In her confessional, Sutton says that her magical esophagus is like her MP, like it's smooth, silky, and very tight. A little more than I wanted to know, but thanks. Sutton then sounds off to Erica, Crystal, and Garcelle about how her esophagus and body in general is not to be talked about, especially behind her back. And how is this for perfect timing? They spot Annemarie, and they call her over. And Sutton immediately looks upset. Marcellus meets the ladies, and he says he heard about Sutton through Annemarie. I'm sure he has. Annemarie greets the ladies and gives Sutton a side hug, and I have a feeling that Sutton is not really comfortable with that. I wouldn't be either. And Sutton says, we need to have a talk right here, right now. And then Sutton just goes cuts straight through the bush with it, like, you picked the wrong person to mess with. Like, this one should be interesting. Annemarie begins to explain, and Sutton cuts her off with, excuse me, ma'am. And she repeats that very phrase multiple times. And this is when Erica says, a person should be careful with the no ma'ams, and that this one that Sutton uttered could get a person smacked from where she's from. And Annemarie says that she does not yell, but if Sutton wants to make her yell, she will match Sutton's tone. And I'm wondering, if saying excuse me ma'am in that certain tone of voice means that she's yelling, then maybe Sutton did yell, but honestly, Annemarie, you richly deserve it. But Sutton insists that she's not yelling. Annemarie says that she was, and that's just another lie that she's told. Sutton asks sarcastically if this is lie number 3. Annemarie says yes. Erica asks, well, what are the first 2 lies? Annemarie says that the first lie was when Sutton said the doctor told her that she could have alcohol and prescription. And at this lie, well, it's not really fair to call it a lie, but at this instance, Sutton confirms that her doctor did say that and asks if Annemarie is her doctor. Hell no, she's not. And Annemarie says, it doesn't matter. Yes, it does, because you are not her doctor, sweetheart. She doesn't have to listen to you. And another thing, Annemarie, nobody cares if you're a 4-certified nurse anesthetist. No one cares. You're still not her doctor, and you still can't tell her what to do. And somewhere on the other side of the room, Mauricio notices drama heating up with the ladies and asks if Marcellus wants to go over there. To which Marcellus smartly declines, like, hey, my name's Bennett and I ain't in it. I know that's right, Marcellus. Back at the heated conversation, Sutton says that she has a board-certified doctor that she listens to and would know better than Marie what she has. I know that's right. Tell her. Sutton continues that Annemarie accused her of making it up, which Annemarie denies, saying that Sutton made it up. But Crystal piped up, you did say that Sutton lied. You implied that Sutton lied. Annemarie starts shouting that she said that what Sutton said doesn't make sense medically. So you're insisting that she lied. Doesn't make sense, implying that she's lying. Same thing. And again, Annemarie, and I hope this will be the last time I have to ask this question, why do you care? Leave it alone. It's like now, at this point, it's like semantics being played and everything going around in circles. And Marie then accuses Crystal of saying Sutton has an eating disorder, blah. What we're not going to do is read this history revisionist thing, or we're not going to lie, okay? It was you, Annemarie, who brought it up first. You are the one that was wondering if Sutton had an eating disorder and the problem was not with her small esophagus. Yes, you did say that. So let's not try it. Don't try it. And all Crystal did was asking for clarity of what you were trying to say. Garcelle, in her confessional, says they haven't been to the ballroom yet and already some ladies are going at it. And she adds that people are just looking at them as if they're animals at the zoo. Sun says it was very inappropriate to bring up her esophagus at Kyle's event. Damn right it was. Very inappropriate. Like, this was supposed to be about Kyle and Kyle honoring her friend who unalived herself. Like, why are you bringing up my personal health, medical business into it? Like, it's not your business. Worry about your own medical history. Crystal says that Annemarie spent 2 hours talking about Sun's esophagus where she and Garcelle left because it was getting annoying. It was. And I was glad Garcelle wanted to get the hell away from there, because I would have. Like, okay, I'm out. And said footage showed the time that transpired, and it was like a little over, somewhat over 2 hours at the very least. Annemarie will not let it go when she says she is trained to be a critical thinker. Fine, but son is still going to listen to her board-certified doctor over you, so you might want to get over it, sweetheart. And you wonder why people don't like you. Crystal loses it and calls Annemarie a bitch. And I have to say, Annemarie also asked for that because that's exactly how she was acting. This is what you get for getting into something that does not concern you, Annemarie. That's what you get. And Annemarie had the nerve to say that Crystal brought up wanting to go to medical school and that she resents Annemarie for being in a medical profession when she could have, but her husband didn't want to wait for her. Okay, first of all, why are you bringing this up to throw in Crystal's face? And what makes you think you're that important for Crystal to resent you? Like, they're just meeting you. You are not all that special. And Sutton says Annemarie owes her an apology. She does. So let's hear it. Instead of a genuine apology, Annemarie gives a non-apology for being concerned and inquisitive about something that anybody in her profession would be concerned about. You call that concern? Okay. And she had the nerve to say whether Sutton accepts it or not, it's on her. Why would she accept it if the apology is not sincere? Like, Annemarie, why are you here? Like, go talk with your friend Kyle. Kyle brings Dory up to speed about the heated conversation. And I'm just wondering, I caught this episode on YouTube, so I couldn't see for sure. I couldn't see clearly of whether or not Kyle was present during said conversation. So I was just wondering if she was present for that, because it looks like, because she could have been watching from another area of the room. I don't know. Maybe Annemarie brought her up to see. I don't know, but anyways. Garcelle joined the conversation and says that Crystal is also heated. And Crystal says that she didn't know Crystal had it in her. And I'm thinking, okay, so are we just gonna forget that you all were present when Crystal and Sutton were going at it during season 11? Are we just gonna forget that Crystal grilled Sutton and whether or not she was that girl that saw color? Are we gonna forget the fact that there was a fight at Garcelle's birthday party, and Sutton went all jealous of what? Your ugly pants? And Crystal accused her of being jealous? We're just going to forget that? Okay. Because they're acting as if Crystal has never spoken up and has never had that fire in her. It's like, yes, she has. Like, what are you guys talking about? Kyle and this is where Kyle, the disconnect is real. Like, Kyle in her confessional had the nerve to say, the ladies wanted Crystal to speak up more, but screaming that someone is a bitch is too much at a black tie event. Okay. Well, okay, let's just get some straight. Like, so first you talk about how she doesn't speak up and not, but you want to now she's going too far when she calls somebody a bitch, especially when it's deserved. Kyle, I'm not even sure if you were present during the conversation, so who are you to talk? And you might want to be glad Crystal spoke up at all. Oh, And plus, another thing, you don't get to tell somebody how to conduct themselves or how to speak. And if you want to talk about what's appropriate decorum at black tie events or other elegant events, you need to get on Annemarie for bringing up Sutton's esophagus at your celebration of life event. That was inappropriate. You might get on Annemarie for that. Let's see. And Dorit, who the hell are you to talk about someone going off on at an inappropriate time at the event? You did it at Sutton's store celebration. Yeah, you did. So you can shut up. And I'm glad to see that the rest of the event went along smoothly. And the cool thing is that Garcelle and Sutton got to meet Paula Abdul. I already addressed Mauricio greeting Sutton, saying that she heard about her esophagus problem earlier. And I still think that Mauricio could have kept that. I mean, yeah, Kyle talks to him, but that was just unnecessary for him to bring up. And the Sutton says, like, so you can come to the homeless and not toothless event and throw my esophagus problem in my face, but you won't even support your wife at the celebration of life, which honors Lorraine, her best friend, who unalived herself? Okay. And it's really too bad she didn't say this to him and had to say it in her confessional. But then again, it's probably because of decorum reasons. But anyways, Mauricio, go sit down. And it's especially great to see Taylor Dane performing. And I see Erica was definitely into it when she was lip syncing to her song. Hope Taylor Mind doesn't go off on her for that like Amber did. And Sutton, after Taylor Dane performs, Sutton makes a speech at the table regarding the trip to Spain with the ladies. Sutton reiterates to Annemarie that she did not appreciate her talking about her medical business to other people behind her back. Annemarie says that she already explained herself. And Kyle says like she would rather be toothless than stick around this. Kyle, shut up. You don't want to be around us, then leave the table. Bye. We don't want you around. And I'll thank you to wipe that mean girl smirk off of your face. She gets on my nerves with that. Montage of ladies figuring out what to pack for Spain. Kyle speaks to Sutton via FaceTime. Sutton says there's some angst to work out, and Kyle says she hasn't spoken to Annemarie yet. Sutton requests that the next time that Kyle speaks to Annemarie to tell her not to talk at the rest of the ladies. Kyle complains about the fact that she has to mediate a fight about esophagus is very upsetting to her. Well, if you want to get real here, you basically started this because I'll bet you were the one that was talking to Annemarie about it and put the battery in her back regarding Sutton having an eating disorder. But in all fairness, Annemarie did start the whole thing, so there wouldn't be anything to complain about if you would have checked your girl. Just saying. Erica talks to Crystal. Crystal admits it was rude to call Annemarie a bitch. Maybe so, but it was still deserved. But Annemarie was still out of line to accuse Sutton of yelling, and the whole argument was driving her insane. I think we all feel that way, Crystal. Especially since it's, the second or third time that we're hearing Annemarie talk about Sutton's esophagus or whether or not she has an eating disorder. Erica says people communicate under stress in different ways, and she knows of what she speaks. She adds that it got loud, and she was glad that it wasn't about her. I know you are. I'm sure you could use a break. Garcelle is FaceTiming with Sutton, and she admits that she is sick and tired of hearing about Sutton's esophagus. So are we, Garcelle. So are we. Even Sutton is sick of hearing about Sutton's esophagus. Sutton doesn't understand why Annemarie is so interested in this. And Garcelle gives her theory that Annemarie wants so badly to be right because it's a medical thing. Next subject. Kyle asks Annemarie if she has spoken to Crystal yet. Annemarie says that she is not interested in speaking to Crystal and that Crystal owes her an apology. For what? For calling you out? And she accuses Crystal of mocking her profession. When and how? Again, is this about her calling you out in your crap? Because it's well deserved, sweetheart. Annemarie finally FaceTimes with Sutton, and she apologizes for her part in the fight. Sutton catches that and says, her part? Your part was the only part that's the problem. I haven't done anything to you. And that's when the episode ends after they say, 24 hours after Sutton says, you know what, I'm going to forget about this. We're just going to go to Spain and have fun. And then 24 hours later, more drama, especially between Annemarie and Crystal. So we'll have to wait and see for that. Until then.